everyone, this is group 34 of the critical thinking group of the logistics class, and we are here to present to you on why people don't think critically. From the topic, if critical thinking is so important, why do people, even educated ones, find it difficult to think? From this, we get to know that although a lot of people are so-called educated people, and during a year a lot of people graduate, and we deem these people as educated people, yet they find it difficult to think critically. So in our presentation, we will be giving you a detailed reason why this is so. First of all, what is critical thinking? Critical thinking is the ability to examine information and make a reasonable judgment. Thank you.
Critical thinking is important because it helps people make better decisions. It allows individuals to examine information carefully before accepting it as true. According to Richard Paul and Linda Elder 2020, critical thinking helps people to analyze the decisions, question conclusions, and make better decisions. This is to help them reach logical conclusions. Critical thinking also supports development in society. It helps people solve problems. John Dewey, 1933, explains that reflective thinking helps people understand situations better. For these reasons, scholars and policy makers consider critical thinking an important skill for personal and rational development.
People also have coordinating biases. For example, confirmation biases make people support information that support their belief. Also, people have coordinative biases. For example, confirmation biases makes people accept information that support their belief whilst ignoring evidence that disagrees with them. All these things also counter and then they come together to make us not think critically. That's why we must train ourselves socially and academically to think critically, because even though we are educated, but we need to find answers for ourselves. We need to ask questions. We need to know why things really happen so that we can be able to curb this type of barriers. Thank you. Individuals tend to believe a lot of people more than we do to ourselves. We do not want to find out why these things really happen, but we just want people to tell us this is what happened and that is what happened. We do not find out what exactly happened. And all these are reasons why people do not think critically, even though they are educated. We just listen to information, for example, hearsays, without evidences, without facts. And all these counts parts of reasons why we do not think critically. Critical thinking calls us to think for ourselves, not to believe on other people, even if the persons are from families, friends, relationships, loved ones we formed, schools, conformism, in-group biases, sociocentrism, a whole lot. All these people should not be. Hello everyone, please, I'm the person of wisdom, and then I will be presenting on social barriers and then its effects on critical thinking. When we talk about barriers are the hindrances, things, obstacles, things that prevent us from thinking critically. Yes, in 1996, Paul Sagan, one of the famous critical thinkers, came out with a point that was the main reason why people do not think critically is because of social barriers. When we talk about social barriers, this includes in-group biases, families and friends influences, loved ones influences from schools, influences from a whole lot of places. And so all these are factors that's.
Good day everyone, my name is Enintia Mwakun. Today I'll be talking about educational barriers to critical thinking. So according to Paulo Freire, some educational systems focus more on memorization rather than critical thinking. So what this means is that students are often taught how to learn facts and information rather than learn how to analyze and evaluate them. As a result, students cannot think independently to think critically. So, for example, Students may brainstorm and apply a formula, a science formula in an exam, but I might not know how the formula really works. So I will urge every school to keep on discussing and make students participate in class to improve their critical thinking. Thank you.
While education does not guarantee critical thinking, many people believe that education automatically leads to critical thinking. However, this is not always true. According to Richard Paul and Linda Elder, 2020 explains that critical thinking requires intellectual humility and self-reflection. A person must be willing to question personal beliefs and also accept mistakes. According to John Dewey, 1933, argues that reflective thinking requires effort. Many people believe familiar ideas and routines instead of carefully examining their beliefs. According to Donald Sean, 1982, also states that people often fail to reflect on their actions and assumptions. Therefore, a person may have academic qualification but still struggle to think critically. Education provides knowledge, but critical thinking requires continuous practice and self-examination. Thank you.
To improve critical thinking, schools must encourage active learning instead of simple memorization. According to Paul Ferry in 1970, he suggests that students must participate in discussing, asking of questions rather than passively receive information. According to Alex Fisher, 2011, he explains that to improve critical thinking skills, students must learn how to evaluate information, analyze arguments, and make good reasons. To encourage teachers to encourage debating, problem-solving activities, information analysis. These methods can help students to become good users of critical thinking and futures for the betterment of our future or generation. Thank you.
Society plays an important role in decision making. So people should be able to verify information before sharing it. They should examine evidence and consider different viewpoints. According to Carl Sagan in 1996, he emphasizes on the importance of claiming questions and seeking evidences before sharing it. So communities, public institutions, media organizations should promote fact-checking, open discussions, and informed decision-making in order to promote the culture of critical thinking.
In conclusion, critical thinking is important for personal growth and development. However, many people find it difficult because of cognitive biases, emotional influences, social pressures, and weaknesses in some educational systems. Richard Paul and Linda Elder, 2020, and other scholars show that critical thinking requires effort, reflection, and practice. Although education provides knowledge, it does not automatically create critical thinkers. People must actively question assumptions, evaluate evidence, and reflect on their beliefs. By improving education, encouraging open discussion, and promoting independent thinking, society can develop stronger critical thinking skills and make better decisions.